RPGs are more than just games, they're entire worlds waiting to be lived in. Welcome back to Gen U Games, the channel built for players who crave epic quests, unforgettable characters, and stories that stay with you. From legendary classics that shaped the genre to bold modern releases rewriting the rules, we break down the RPGs worth your time. Whether it's turn-based battles, open-world adventures, or hidden indie gems, this is where every choice, every journey, and every grind matters. Gen U Games, your party's ready, your quest log is full, and today we're counting down the top 15 RPGs that every gamer should experience. Disco Elysium: The Final Cut is one of the most unique RPGs ever made, turning dialogue and choice into the core gameplay. You play as a broken-down detective, trying to solve a murder in a decaying city, but the real story is how you wrestle with your own mind. Instead of combat, everything plays out through conversations, dice rolls, and the 24 voices in your head that represent different aspects of your personality. The Final Cut adds full voice acting and new political vision quests, making an already dense narrative even more immersive. Visually, the painterly art style perfectly captures the bleak, surreal world, and the soundtrack adds weight to every decision. It's slow, it's heavy, but it's one of the most thought-provoking RPGs in years. Do you see Disco Elysium as the future of RPG storytelling, or is it too unconventional to stand alongside traditional classics?
Yes, I'm going to unplug the microphone, okay?
And leave a bigger mark behind you in new quests.
You're big boy, you can handle it.
Achilles' Legends Untold takes one of history's most famous warriors and throws him into a world that blends myth with brutal combat. The story follows Achilles after the Trojan War, but instead of fading into legend, he's forced into a struggle against gods, monsters, and his own destiny. The gameplay pulls from action RPGs with a heavy Soulslike influence. Expect stamina-based combat, dodges, and carefully timed strikes, but with smoother pacing than punishing hardcore titles. There's also a clever AI system that makes enemies work together in unpredictable ways, which keeps fights tense and fresh. Visually, the game isn't a blockbuster spectacle, but it nails the dark, mythological atmosphere with sharp environments and detailed enemy designs. It's a game that balances challenge and accessibility, giving both seasoned ARPG fans and newcomers something worth sinking hours into.
One shall decide.
Anima: Gate of Memories is an indie action RPG that feels like a hidden gem for fans of fast, stylish combat. The story follows the Bear, a woman bound to a cursed book named Ergo, and together they're thrown into a conflict that mixes dark fantasy with psychological themes. The narrative can feel cryptic at times, but it's intriguing, like piecing together a dream that's just slightly unsettling. Gameplay is where it shines. You can switch between the Bear's swordplay and Ergo's magic mid-battle, creating fluid combos and tactical variety. The boss fights are easily the highlight, huge, surreal monsters that feel as much like puzzles as they are battles. Graphically, it's not AAA, but the art direction carries it moody landscapes, twisted architecture, and a distinct gothic anime style. It's the kind of game that rewards curiosity, skill, and a taste for the unconventional. Asdivine Dios is a classic-style JRPG that feels like a throwback to the 16-bit era, but with its own quirks. The story puts you in the role of Izayoi, literally a deity who's lost his powers after a strange distortion threatens the balance of the world. From there, it's a mix of lighthearted character banter and surprisingly heartfelt moments as you travel with a quirky party to set things right. Gameplay is pure comfort food for RPG fans, turn-based battles, customizable skills, and the signature Rubik system that lets you tweak stats in clever ways. It's straightforward but addictive, especially if you grew up on older Final Fantasy or Tales games. Graphically, it's not flashy. Think colorful sprites, clean environments, and a simple charm that gets the job done. It's less about pushing boundaries and more about offering a cozy, familiar adventure with just enough twist to keep you hooked. Ashen is one of those games that quietly grabbed critical attention when it launched. It earned accolades for its unique art direction, minimalist storytelling, and that Souls-like gameplay loop that still feels approachable. The story follows a wanderer in a sunless world, searching for light and community, and it's told less through cutscenes and more through atmosphere and subtle dialogue. Combat is stamina-based and punishing, but the cooperative twist sets it apart. You can encounter NPCs or even players seamlessly in your journey, which makes the world feel alive without breaking immersion. Visually, the low-poly style is striking, simple shapes and muted palettes that somehow capture emotion and scale better than some photorealistic games. Atelier Shallie, Alchemists of the Dusk Sea, closes out the Dusk trilogy, and it's one of the more approachable entries in the series. The story follows two heroines, Shallie and Shallie, whose lives intersect in a dying world where water is vanishing. What stands out is that you can pick which protagonist to follow, giving the narrative different perspectives and replay value. Gameplay sticks to the Atelier formula gathering, crafting, and turn-based battles, but Shallie makes big changes by removing the time limit system. That shift gives players more freedom to explore, experiment, and enjoy the alchemy side without feeling pressured. Combat is strategic but smooth, with flashy team skills and a party system that feels rewarding to build. Visually, it's bright and colorful, anime-inspired designs set against a backdrop of decay and hope. It's both a conclusion to the trilogy and an easy entry point for newcomers. Bakugan. Champions of Vestroia had the right idea, bringing the Bakugan battles into a full RPG, but the execution left a lot of fans underwhelmed. The story follows an original protagonist in San Barbaros, where you build a team of Bakugan and face off in arena-style battles. On paper, it's a mix of creature collecting, light exploration, and real-time combat. In practice, the battles revolve around running around the field to collect energy cores while your Bakugan auto-fight, which quickly feels repetitive. The RPG elements are thin, with limited customization and a world that lacks the depth you'd expect from a franchise with so much lore. Graphically, it looks serviceable, bright colors and familiar Bakugan designs, but nothing that stands out on Switch. It's not unplayable, but it feels more like a starter game for younger fans than a fully fleshed out RPG for the broader audience. Born of Bread is a quirky RPG that wears its Paper Mario influence proudly. You play as Sleuth, a flower golem with the personality of a curious kid, thrown into a lighthearted but surprisingly layered adventure. The story blends humor, charm, and occasional emotional beats, with a cast of oddball companions that keep the dialogue fun. Gameplay sticks to turn-based combat, but with interactive inputs that make every attack feel hands-on, similar to the timing mechanics in classic Mario RPGs. Exploration is side-scrolling, with puzzle solving and ability-based progression that keeps the world engaging. Visually, the game is gorgeous, hand-drawn 2D characters on 3D backdrops, giving it a storybook feel that stands out immediately. It's not trying to be dark or epic. Instead, it delivers a cozy, witty RPG experience that feels fresh yet nostalgic at the same time. Broken Roads is a post-apocalyptic RPG set in the Australian outback, and what sets it apart is its emphasis on philosophy and morality. Instead of just giving you good or evil choices, the game uses a morality compass with 4 different worldviews: humanist, utilitarian, nihilist, and Machiavellian that shape your dialogue and decisions. The story leans heavily into survival, rebuilding, and how people adapt when the world collapses, with a grounded tone that feels more thought-provoking than most RPGs. Gameplay is isometric and turn-based, very much in the vein of classic Fallout, with tactical combat and exploration across dusty towns and harsh landscapes. The visuals mix muted post-apocalyptic colors with a touch of painterly detail, giving the setting personality without being overbearing. It's a slower, narrative-driven RPG, but for players who enjoy choice-driven storytelling and moral weight behind every action, it stands out.
Fury. Your quest for the Seven Deadly begins immediately.
Darksiders III takes the series in a different direction, focusing on Fury, one of the Four Horsemen, as she hunts down the Seven Deadly Sins. The story leans darker and more personal than the first two games, with Fury's arrogance and growth at the center of it all. Gameplay shifts into a more Souls-like structure, expect tighter combat, careful dodging, and enemies that punish button mashing. Fury's arsenal of whips and elemental forms keep battles dynamic, and the world design is interconnected, rewarding exploration with secrets and shortcuts. Visually, it strikes a balance between gothic fantasy and post-apocalyptic decay, though performance at launch had its bumps. Over time, patches smoothed things out, and it stands today as a challenging but satisfying entry in the franchise. Dauntless is often described as a free-to-play take on Monster Hunter, and that's not far off, but it carves out its own space. The story setup is light. You're a slayer tasked with protecting the Shattered Isles from massive behemoths. What keeps players hooked is the gameplay loop. Hunt monsters, craft gear from their parts, and use that gear to take on even tougher foes. Combat is fast-paced, with different weapon classes that feel distinct, whether you're swinging huge hammers or slicing with chain blades. It's built with accessibility in mind, offering cross-play across platforms and a smoother learning curve than its inspirations. Graphically, the stylized art direction gives it a clean, cartoon-like look that runs well, even on the Switch. It may not have the depth of Monster Hunter, but it's a great entry point for anyone who wants big monster battles without the grind.
This is your fate.
Wow.
Dark Souls Remastered takes the 2011 classic and makes it more accessible without tampering with what made it iconic. The story is still the same cryptic descent into Lordran, a ruined kingdom where every item description and boss encounter adds another piece to the puzzle. Gameplay remains punishing but rewarding. Stamina-based combat, brutal bosses, and that constant sense of risk versus reward. The remaster improves performance, stabilizing the frame rate, polishing textures, and tightening online play to support up to 6 players. While it doesn't overhaul the visuals to modern standards, the sharper presentation highlights the haunting architecture and oppressive atmosphere even more. For veterans, it's the definitive way to revisit a masterpiece, and for newcomers, it's still one of the best introductions to the Souls formula.
Who would one day be born amongst them. Lord Wind resisted the course of nature.
Journey with allies.
Dragon Quest III HD 2D Remake reimagines one of the most beloved RPGs of all time with Square Enix's stunning HD 2D engine. The story still follows the hero, setting out to defeat the demon lord Baramos, but what makes it timeless is the freedom. You can build your party however you like, mixing classes to fit your style. Gameplay keeps its classic turn-based roots, but adds modern conveniences like faster battles, smoother menus, and quality-of-life tweaks that make the grind far less tedious. The visuals are breathtaking. Detailed pixel characters layered over rich, dynamic lighting, and 3D environments, blending nostalgia with modern artistry. The orchestration gives the iconic soundtrack new life, making exploration and battles feel grander than ever. It's both a respectful restoration and a fresh way for new players to experience a cornerstone of RPG history. Digimon Stories Cyber Sleuth is one of the strongest modern entries in the franchise, blending monster collecting with a cyber detective narrative. The story drops you into a near-future Tokyo, where digital and real worlds bleed together, and as a hacker, you're investigating mysteries while uncovering the darker side of cyberspace. Gameplay mixes traditional turn-based RPG combat with Digimon training and evolution, offering tons of depth in how you build your team. There are over 200 Digimon to collect, and the branching evolution paths keep experimentation rewarding. The battle system feels snappy, with status effects, type advantages, and team synergy playing a big role. Visually, it captures the slick cyberpunk vibe with vibrant colors and stylish character designs, though some dungeon layouts repeat a bit too often. Still, it's one of the best showcases of Digimon as a serious RPG series, not just nostalgia bait. Dredge is a fishing game on the surface, but underneath, it's a slow-burn horror experience that gets under your skin. You play as a fisherman working off a debt in a remote archipelago, and while the days are spent catching and upgrading your boat, the nights bring unsettling shapes and creeping madness. The story unfolds through eerie encounters and cryptic quests, mixing small-town mystery with cosmic horror. Gameplay balances resource management with exploration, deciding which fish to keep, how to arrange them in your hold, and when to risk pushing into the dark. The art style is clean and stylized, which makes the sudden horrors hit even harder. It's simple, addictive, and quietly terrifying, proving you don't need jump scares to make players uneasy.